While some were about to race to victory, others, like Hema Maher, experienced the crushing and utter disappointment of defeat. A Runoffs victory is a prestigious feather in one's cap, so 99 champion leader Tom Patton and two-time pole sitter Bill Reed went to war. Reed wound up the loser. But Patton wouldn't be the victor either, as top qualifier Dwayne Davis fought past and into the lead on lap 13. Then, moments later, Patton slowed, ending his quest for a second gold. Dwayne Davis captured yet another national title and was given the thumbs up by number 66 Dave Finch, who finished second after starting dead last. When you look at career statistics in GT2, it becomes evident that the history of the drivers is almost as extensive as the history of the class itself. For instance, Tom Patton has been running this beautiful Sunbeam Tiger in the class since 1980. He has won the 1999 National Championship and came oh so close in 98 and 2000. He's going to be going up against Dave Finch. Finch has been racing since 1977 and on his way has collected 5 gold medals and 7 poles. Clearly, experience is everything. But David Hobbs, when it comes to experience, we may not have hit the tip of the iceberg yet.
Well, Greg, you talk about experience. These 3 drivers rack up an incredible amount of experience in the National Championship runoffs. Bill Reed qualified 3rd last year, duking it out for the lead. Strong contender. Unfortunately, got spun off on lap 4. DNF in car number 2, the only Porsche in this race. We have Jim Blakewell. He's racked up 4 wins this year alone, so he's going to be a very strong contender. But then, of course, when you talk about strong contenders, you've got to look at the 11-time national champion, only 2nd overall in national championships, 6th in GT2, and that is Dwayne Davis. He's had a couple of wins this year. This is a strong man. This is a strong trio of drivers this afternoon.
Some SCCA classes experience lots of turnover. In others, the long-term drivers might lose a step or two. But in GT2, where a select group of veterans continue to welcome all comers, and it makes every GT2 runoff a classic. It is time to determine another national champ in Grand Touring 2 here at Mid-Ohio. It's the 39th SCCA Valvoline Runoffs, the SCCA's chase for the national championship at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. And David Hobbs, this track is busy, but it has a straight, and these GT2 cars can stretch their legs.
Well, it is busy, you're right. 15 turns in just 2.4 miles. A lot of elevation change, and a very interesting track from the finish line there, right through that first turn 1, almost up to chicanes flat out. Then once you've gone around that keyhole, the top left-hand corner of the picture there, that's a long downhill straight to all the S's there. And I tell you what, mechanical grip becomes very important through those S's. There's no doubt about it. If you can get a good draft in these sedan-type cars, they're going to make a big hole, and you can use that for a draft.
Well, let's give you the starting lineup with our Valvoline starting grid, and there it is. Dwayne Davis on pole, Finch, Goffrey, Reed, Blackwell, Patton. This is an incredible group. Mirren, Gillis, Rosenberg, and Chris Howard round out the top 10. And here is 11th through 18th. So the field's not necessarily long on number, but incredibly deep in talent at this point. And we're looking forward to a great race. And I'll tell you what, we've got a great crew down in the pits. One of them is John Bizignano.
Well, thank you very much for that introduction, Greg. I'll tell you, these cars are purpose-built race cars. From their conception, nothing but racing into their design. They have a tubular chassis, and they use all the hot racing bits, wheels, brakes, tires to make them go as fast as possible. The manufacturers love these class, and they are very proud of their victories. Now, for more down the pit lane, my pit partner, Brian Till.
Well, thanks, John. You know, Greg, you mentioned that the guys say we've got a lot of veterans in this class, and what that means is no fewer than 4 GT2 national champions competing today. 3 of those guys start in the first 3 spots. 12 national championships between the top 3 drivers. Davis owns 6 of them. Finch owns 5. Finch is going to be looking to equal that today. Man, I'm telling you, hold on to your armchairs, guys. This one is going to be a barn burner.
It always is. As I said, every one of these races seems to be a classic in one way or another, and nothing is settled. You have your favorites, but at some point, it all comes to fruition, and it produces fireworks extraordinaire. We'll bring it to you when we come back. Back and look at the crowd. They are well aware of what's about to unfold. One of the great races at any of the runoffs is GT2. GT2, and the cars are on course. David, tell us a little bit more about GT2.
Well, there's not a lot to add to what John Bigignano said. These are race cars from the ground up. They use race tires. They're purpose-built, and they're very highly modified. They just look like the car they're supposed to be done. And, of course, the chassis performance is equalized by weight and, of course, tire size as well. And of the last 15 years in this class, Finch and Davis between them have won the gold 11 times. Is there any reason to think that one of those two won't win it this year? Yes, because Jim Goffrey is there in third spot right behind them in his Nissan. So we've got three manufacturers in the top spots: Toyota, Porsche 944, and the Nissan 300CX. And another Toyota Celica. So a lot of manufacturers represented here. As you said, it's a small field, but certainly quality. And these, particularly these top two runners, got a lot of experience. They all know how to win here. You bet. They've done it an awful lot of time.
Wayne Davis.
Previous winner, of course, this is a breeding ground too. A previous winner here in 1986, Scott Sharp, who went on to win the Trans Am Championship a couple of times, and of course, one of the top IRL runners currently.
Yep, and you saw the onboard shot will come from number 11, Dwayne Davis, who is our pole qualifier, but look at the group with him. You were talking about any other contenders. How about on that third row is Tom Patton, and that car's brilliant in a straight line. Let's head down very quickly to pit lane for an update from John Bigignano.
Well, Jim Goffrey is one of the winningest drivers in this class, but he hasn't had it all his way during qualifying and practice. They've lost 3 motors, which is very unusual for the Nissan. They're trying to squeeze every last horsepower out. They put on a new head last night. He says he's 100% confident.
Well, we're about to put it to the test as the green comes out at Mid-Ohio, and GT2, the national championship race, is well underway as they head down into the S's. Davis defending. Finch, he's trying. He's thinking about the outside. You can make it work. He elected not to try it. Davis hangs on to the lead. Reed tucks into third. Goffrey fourth. And there's the side-by-side battle for fifth right now. Patton involved in it, and
there goes.
Can't get by. He can't get around Mirren.
I'll tell you what, that was a very smart move there, Mr. Finch, not to try and press the issue going through turn 6 for the very first time. The biggest mistake race drivers make is to try and win the race on turn 1, lap 1, and it very often ends in complete chaos.
Yeah, the only driver that we talked about in the Open that didn't have maybe the start he wanted was Jim Blakewell. Dropped back a couple of spots behind Mirren in that purple Porsche 914, but still in the hunt here. Patton looking to duck a little low, maybe get back around the number 96 of Mirren, couldn't get it done. We go on board with Dwayne Davis, and he has absolutely nothing in front of him except daylight, and he's going to make a run for it if he can.
Well, in practice and qualifying, David Finch was the quickest out of 2 out of the 3 sessions, so he should be looking pretty racy this afternoon. At the moment, though, Davis going away from Finch slightly.
Well, this is one of the few classes this year at the Runoffs where they broke the record in qualifying. Goffrey had it from 1999 at a 132.1, and Davis on the first day, on Tuesday, turned a 131.4, so takes the record. He also has the race lap record, which I would guess might fall as well. But while Davis would love to have made a break here, he can't do it at this point. A little bit further back in the pack, Blakewell now trying to make the move on the number 69 of Terry Gillis. And Gillis just absolutely slammed the door shut.
Slammed right in his fizzle.
Blakewell was trying to come from a long, long way back, though.
I'll tell you what, though, he's got the measure of the 69 car there. There's no doubt about it. He will make it around him, I'm sure. Ooh, swapping lines there. Zigzagging around behind the 69 car there of Terry Gillis.
Right behind them is the Porsche 911 of Gus Rosenberg, the red car, who's enjoying the battle in front of him, would like to join it, of course. In these cars, David, you notice Blakewell running an open cockpit car, and a lot of the other guys, except with the exception of Patton and Rosenberg, are running coupes. How much of an aerodynamic deficiency is that to run an open cockpit?
I would have thought it would be not as good as the closed cockpit cars, quite honestly. These Toyota Celicas, very slippery looking cars. And the open top just causes a lot of turbulence and ultimately drag. Bill Reed is having a very good run. Bill Reed qualified 4th. He jumped straight into 3rd spot, and he is right behind the 2 leaders.
Yeah, Bill Reed has had a lot of success in qualifying here, Brian. Until he'd like to add that success in a race.
Well, he was not at all happy with his qualifying this weekend, Greg. He said he thinks they found the problem. It was in the diff, so they changed it. He said, I'll let you know if we find the problem or not. If we found it, we'll move forward. If that wasn't a problem, Brian, we're going to be moving in the wrong direction. I think maybe it was the diff, guys.
Oh, he looks very strong. Matter of fact, he's able to run, it looks like, even maybe a little quicker than Finch down the back straight into the S's, and is able to close it up just a little bit. So Bill Reed running in the third spot right now. A little margin back to Goffrey and Mirren and Patton, but still he's behind Davis and Finch, the two so experienced veterans here early in the going in the GT2 National Runoff.
Well, has been to the Valvoline Runoff 7 times. He's been on the podium 5 of those, but still no victory. Jim, you obviously love your Porsche 914-6, but have you ever thought about changing cars to get that win?
Oh, no, this is my car. This is what I've invested my life and love and enthusiasm in. I love racing the guys, and I love coming to the runoffs.
Well, he also loves the color purple. Purple car, purple engine block, purple driver suit, and the purple people eater. Let's hope it brings him luck.
All right, John, and tell you what, Blakewell didn't have the start he wanted. He slipped back just a little bit in the running order, and it has gone a little bit from bad to worse as he had this moment just a moment ago, David.
Having got around. Ooh, this is at the carousel. Gets it all out of shape, gets under the grass, and then finally loops it. So this is going to lose him a lot of valuable time. There's a 69 car that he'd struggled to get around so hard. That's Terry Gillis going by him, and look at that old stream of cars going by. Old Jim, so he's going to have to work his way back towards the front.
Yeah, he has slipped now to 11, so Jim Blakewell has a long afternoon in front of him at this point. And Tom Patton right now is Mike Mirren in front of him. Mirren snuck by on the start and has been able to hang on here in front of Patton. Patton's car for many years was acknowledged as the missile down the straight because it runs in that Sunbeam Tiger, a V8 engine, but then it would get to the turns and it wasn't quite as effective. Yeah, he's worked on the suspension on that, but he's also been running, they've had him in the last few years run a little more weight, so probably.
I just can't believe that anybody in this day and age would be running the Sunbeam Tiger. I mean, Sunbeam Tigers are racing when I was racing in club racing. This is an old car.
Oh, boy, but he got a run coming out of the carousel, and he's going to try and make the move on Mirren. He's inside going into one, and Mirren lets him go. And I think the reason that Patton continues to run the Tiger is the same one that Blakewell runs
yeah, exactly.
Porsche. This isn't a matter of modern, it's a matter of love. I really think that.
This is his car. This is what he's invested all his time and his life in.
His passion, absolutely. And I'll tell you, when you talk to Tom and he starts talking about the car, his eyes sort of glaze over a little bit. It really is a labor of love for him, and it's given him some success. He's won here. It's also given him a little heartbreak, but hey, that's how it is in any relationship, you know. But he did get around Mirren, and that's going to move him up into the top 5 at this point. Problem for him right now is that he's ways back at that group of 4 up front, and there's the number 32 has pulled off. Bill Cope, New Albany, Ohio, the Central Division is where he runs in that Mazda, and he's had a problem. I don't see damage or anything, so I think it probably is mechanical. Unfortunate to have it go away that early in the race for him. JBK Partners, the sponsor of that RX-7. There's Jim Goffrey Sr., and he is still there. He's in 4th, John Bizignano, and he's closed it up a little bit on Bill Reed.
Well, he has closed it up. I think he's planning this. He's managing his tires his entire race, but the man who manages Nissan Motorsports and really Infinity Motorsports for North America is Ron Stukenberg. Why go Club Racing?
Well, it's a great testament to our products, both for speed, endurance, and what you see here is what customers buy.
So you see these cars on the track. These are a little bit more heavily modified, but still it adds up in sales.
It sure does. In fact, even in our other GT classes where we run the newer models like the Sentra SCR, it's a great testament to what we're trying to do with Nissan.
Are you selling high-performance parts also?
Yes, we're coming out next spring with Nismo high-performance parts for both street and racing.
What about the Z car?
What about it?
What are you going to do with it?
We're going to sell it.
And you're going to race it.
Seriously, we'll have a GT3 body for the 350Z coming out next year, and some of these GT2 guys will also be running that.
Congratulations on a great program.
Thank you.
And of course, as you can see from the crowd in the background there, these cars are racing in front of a big crowd here at Mid-Ohio on a beautiful afternoon, so this is a great way to show your product off.
Showcasing is what it's all about from a manufacturer's perspective, and certainly Dwayne Davis doing that for Toyota as well as he continues to lead here in pursuit of a 7th GT2 National Championship. David Finch right behind him, and he's feeling the heat from Fitch, but Dwayne Davis right now, Brian Till, has still a clear track in front of him.
Greg, I talked to Mark Nash, who's the crew chief. I said, do you have enough to give him 7 national championships in this class? He said, absolutely. We've been through everything, through the diff, the training, through the engine. We actually put the old brakes back on last night because we liked them better. The only thing that can happen to us is the unexpected. And there's a fine line between confidence and overconfidence, and it looks to me like Finch may be closing in on him, so it'll be interesting to see if Davis has a car to stay in front. You know, we've said many times before, hooking them is one thing, reeling them in and getting past them, that's something else. We'll have to see if Finch has anything for Davis.
Well, reeling them in is one thing, but getting by them, that is the key thing, as Brian Till only knows so well. It's very difficult to get by somebody who's as competitive as Dwayne Davis and as successful as him with such a fine car. So these two guys are really going to be duking it out. They put a bit of daylight between themselves and Bill Reed now, running in third spot. And there we see old Jim Blakewell making up some of that ground he lost in that disastrous spin, which unfortunately was at the carousel, so it was a relatively slow spin, so it took a long time. It took first of all, he got out of shape, then he's spinning around trying to get the thing back, then he finally lost it, and he had a slow, lazy spin, so he lost a lot of time.
But he's making it up in big chunks. He's coming after Gus Rosenberg. That's the 71 Porsche 911 right in front of him. That means he's running for 8. So Blakewell is on the move. He's already gone by the 83 right there in the back of the frame of Chris Howard, and they sweep around one of the lap cars here. Now he looks to the inside. I think he may have to wait until they go. Really? No, he's
not going to wait. He's going to go down. Boy, big time. At turn 1, the fastest turn here at Mid-Ohio. 110, 120 miles an hour in these cars, in these GT2 cars. So that was a brave move by Blakewell in that 9:14.6.
And he's coming up on Terry Gillis here in a big hurry. Gillis runs just
he'd already got him. Well, he just got Terry Gillis, but he spun the first time. So all that, 5 laps ago, he was a position up from where he is now. He's going to whistle by him on the straight here.
Well, that 914 seems to be working fairly well.
No, he's not going to whistle by him.
Well, I think maybe that's the aerodynamic thing, but boy, once he gets under the brakes here, into the brakes for the S's, here he comes. He closes it right up. And from here, certainly, over to the keyhole, Blakewell is very fast.
I drove a 914 at the Nürburgring in 1,000 kilometers to Sterling Moss back in 1964. When
Right
he was
there.
just allowed there. Ooh.
Boy, did he make a nice setup move there. Can he hang in? No.
It's very difficult here, because as long as Terry Gillis takes the line on all his turns, it's almost impossible for him to get by. He's going to have to really make a shot of it as he comes out of 13 and into the carousel. But obviously he's going to be treading carefully through the carousel.
Let's see if he tries anything here. Cars, and Gillis covered. He knew Blakewell might be thinking about it, but now Blakewell dives to the inside, and Gillis just floated out the width of a Porsche 914 and a couple sheets of paper, and Blakewell said that was.
Well, Gillis had just a little bit of understeer there. He went in a bit tight, pitched the corner a bit tight. When he put the lock on the car, understeer, took him wide. And the car of Blakewell's got good grip there and whistled around the inside. Had a good tight line all the way through and came off the corner quick as well.
So Blakewell now up to 7th, so a good run there. Now let's go up and take a look at this battle for 3rd. 46 is Goffrey in the Nissan, Reed right in front of him in the Toyota, number 87. This is the battle for the bronze right now. And Goffrey, he's close, but he's just not able to do anything at this point. Goffrey won the championship in 1998. Reed has no gold medals here at the Runoffs. A couple of poles, but no gold medals. And he'd sure like to have something positive happen.
Faded a little bit. He's now just 3 seconds behind David Finch. He's in 2nd spot. He was right on his tail at one stage, but he's faded just a little bit in the 67 car, 87 car.
There's that carousel corner, and they bend out and onto the front straight. And we go up on board with Dwayne Davis, your overall race leader right now. And he continues to open it up marginally now. He's just a tick over a second clear of Dave Finch. But in this class, that's not much. And Finch is going to be lurking. In Ohio, and the battle is heating up for the bronze medal in GT2. Bill Reed feeling the heat now from Goffrey. Goffrey's up the ante just a little bit. He's closed up quite a bit at this stage. And right now, Brian Till, Reed continues to hang on to 3rd, but it's tough to tell for how long.
Hey, Greg, I talked to Rusty Webb, who is the crew chief for Bill Reed. He said Bill's actually more relaxed than he's ever been before. Actually, the first time he's ever taken a nap before the race. So Reed, nice and relaxed, but he can't be too relaxed with Goffrey on his tail. I asked him where he thought the Nissan was stronger. He said, I think they've got us down the back straightaway. We're
I tell you, that Porsche that Finch has, that 944 model, he's been racing a variant of that. You can see him up in the distance there. He's been racing a variant of that car. It's really the same chassis. He just keeps improving it, tweaking it, working it. And he even took a couple of years off, didn't run, used the same chassis, tweaked it up again, came back, and was competitive. And it's tough for these two guys to run those guys down. They have so much experience with Finch's car, and then up front, Dwayne Davis just has experience, period. 11 gold medals here total, 6 in this class.
Well, like I said at the beginning of the show, I mean, Finch and Davis between them got 11 golds out of the last 15 in this class, so they're really, really tough.
Davis, couple of tires up on the curb, exiting the keyhole, just trying to carry every bit of momentum. And if it's true that the Nissan has the legs on him down the straight, Reed is doing exactly what he needs to do there, and that's get momentum out of the keyhole so that by the time they get down the end of the straight, Godfrey's not so close he can try the move, and it worked to perfection that time.
Very sleek looking shape. Both these cars look very racy. Great slope to the windscreen here, so quick down the straight. Good handling through here because they've got race suspension and race red suspension, race tires. Cars are cut and shut. They're just a tube frame car, so they are extremely efficient.
Well, in the old days when you had the IMSA GTU, GTO series that would run with the prototype series, these cars were essentially GTU cars. And a car that ran here could run very competitively in GTU and vice versa. So the performance here is pretty stout considering a GTO car was essentially the same thing as a Trans Am car, a GT1 machine.
Right.
So these cars are very quick in their own right. Make no mistake about that. There is Godfrey. Boy, he got through that traffic very cleanly at this stage. Now here's Tom Patton running in the 5th spot. Remember, he got shuffled back by Mike Mirren in the early going, and Patton finally got the pass done on him. And you can see he has now started to run some fairly significantly quick laps and has drawn a bit clear of Mirren at this point in 5th. Problem for him, while he was doing that, he lost serious touch with the leaders.
Well, Jim Blakewell is lurking behind him, to use your word. Jim Blakewell is going slightly quicker than Patton. Is he going quick enough to be able to pick him off, though?
He's got some work done there. That's no question. There's Mirren, is that white car in the distance, and we don't yet see the purple nose of the 914, so gives you an idea of the margin that Patton has at this stage. As I said, though, the problem for him is that margin is the same one he is in deficit when you consider Jim Godfrey running in front of him in 4th, then Reed, then Finch, and then Davis. And right now, Davis and Finch have about 6 seconds on Reed and Godfrey, so everybody's breaking into their own little groups here. There's good competition within those groups, but up front, it is a fairly interesting run and a big margin from our 2 leaders back to 3rd at this point. There's Mike Mirren. He's in 6th, losing just a little bit of ground to Tom Patton, but as you pointed out, I don't think it's going to be that long before he's going to be looking in his mirrors, and we'll start seeing flashes of purple here in Mid-Ohio as we ride on board once again with leader Dwayne Davis. You're on board with Dwayne Davis here at Mid-Ohio on the Valvoline Runoffs, and why don't we just let you enjoy a little bit of a lap here with Dwayne Davis. We'll relax and you listen in.
Well, he didn't have to relax for long. There you can see it, turn 6. Turn 8 here, no camber to help you. Suspension goes low. Road drops away. There. You hear the engine note, even the engine goes up. Turn 13, this is nasty corner, very adverse cam there. And then as you go into the carousel, it's quite a downward slope, which induces a lot of understeer going in. You want to make a good exit here because this effectively is a straight all the way up to the chicane because turn 1 is almost flat. Road falls away at the exit of turn 1 too, which really can catch you out at the end of that corner if you're not careful. Into the chicane. Coming up to the keyhole, absolutely key corner. This again over the top of that hill, the road falls away here. The car wants to drift to the outwards. You want to try and keep a tight line there because you really want a good exit under here because you've got this long downhill straightaway. where you can really maximize the top end of the car. And if you're lucky enough to be following somebody and close enough, you can really use the draft as you come into this huge braking area for turn 6. Road falls away again on the way into that. Up and over the hill here again. The road falls away on the exit to this. You want to be in the right part of the road. You don't want to be too far to the right, otherwise you can never get back to take this right-hander. Very technical course.
Oh, that's Jim Blakewell. Jim Blakewell apparently has had a problem. He is out of the car and taken off of the arm restraints. Those are mandatory when you run an open cockpit car in SCCA and most forms of racing to keep the arms from coming out of the car in the event of an accident. And when you're peeling that, and he is well and deep into the gravel at this point, so not the kind of carpet he wanted under that car at the end of the race here. And looks like he just had an off.
What is it? Coming to the carousel again?
No, I think that's into the S's. That's China Beach, as they call it here.
Well and truly buried in there. And of course, look how quickly that gravel stopped that car. Didn't turn over, didn't do anything, just stopped it dead in its tracks, which of course is exactly what it's for.
It just absorbs energy, and that means momentum, and that means it keeps you off of the tires and behind the tires, walls and guardrails and the like. This battle for third, though, has not changed. It is still Reed hanging on, and Goffrey, once again, in spots, will close it up. In other spots, he seems to just drop off just a little bit. And Reed right now, I mean, he's been feeling pressure from the start of this race, and at this point, he has not put a wheel wrong.
He hasn't put a wheel wrong, but he's still 10 seconds behind the leader, and he looks very racy, he looks fast, but Dwayne Davis just hammering away there, consistently doing 33s and mid-33s. Very difficult to maintain that pace.
Well, he's got the race lap record lead, a record at a 1:32.3. He hasn't quite hit that yet, but as you said, Dwayne Davis continues to build the margin, almost, over 3 seconds now, clear of finish. With 5 laps to go here at the Valvoline Runoffs for the GT2 category. There is that battle for third, and it has heated up once again. And I suspect that lap car that they're both now just in front of may have played a role, but Goffrey is all over this Toyota right now as he comes working through. And we're going to take you back in just a moment and show you exactly what happened. There's another of the Porsches here. That's the number 23 of Dick Salem.
Nope. Bill Reed arrived there, thought he was going to go round. In fact, just tagged the back of it, which obviously he had to lift off there, lost a lot of momentum. It's allowed Goffrey to get right on his bumper. In fact, Goffrey was thinking of going around the outside because he couldn't, because the Porsche was still there. And they touched, I think, on the exit there of the carousel onto the front straight. But again, Bill Reed has asserted his lead over Goffrey there just by a few feet, but he certainly pulled away in that half a lap.
Yeah, once he's got clear track, he seems to be able to sort of eke that back again just a little bit. But Goffrey continues to hound him. Here's another good scrap as well. It's the 83 of Chris Howard is closing in on Terry Gillis. This is the battle for 7th at this point. Howard running in the 8th spot, the number 83 machine. He was 3rd, by the way, in the Northeastern Division. He did have a win this year in that category, so he knows how to get it done in terms of the racecraft. And then Terry Gillis, the Redline Oil Nissan 300ZX. But it looks right now like Howard might be just a scotch quicker.
I think he is. He's caught him up from quite a long way back. But of course, again, it seems to be a bit slower down the straight, though, maybe.
Well, they were saying that the Nissan is a little quicker in the straight, but fair evidence there that number 83, Howard, in the Nissan, just not able to get his pedal that fast, or maybe it's just a case for Terry Gillis running a little bit different body work. It looks like a big loose moment there for Howard. I was going to say Gillis's body work just a little bit different, I think, and I don't know whether the aero's helping him or maybe he's just got a little bit stronger motor at this stage. There's Dwayne Davis, and he is well out front right now. Well, actually, he had 3.1 seconds, Brian, but now David Finch has trimmed about 0.3 of a second off Davis's lead.
I don't think they're too worried about it. I'm here with Kay Davis. She's timed every single lap. Kay, you said the only time you get nervous is when you come to the runoffs. Why? championship that Dwayne's won?
Yes, everyone.
And you still get nervous?
Yes, of course.
Well, she was nervous down here a little while ago, guys. She was pushing the camera out of the way, going, I got a time, get out of the way.
Well, that's exactly what we're talking about when she says the competition here is so much tougher. She's talking about Finch, Reed, Godfrey, Patton, and they've been racing each other for a long time, but a lot of them come from different divisions around the country. So they may run each other once or twice during the season, but this is what it's all about. And here we see David Finch, who had closed it up a little bit, John Bizignano. He got under 2 seconds, but now it's ballooned to almost 3.4.
Well, the numbers tell you everything about this race. Right in here, you see consistent 32s, a great row of 32s there, but now consistent 33. So he's a second slower. Here he was 4 seconds back. Now he's 5 seconds back. So I don't think there's going to be a David Finch charge with the last 3 laps.
So something has gone off perhaps just a little bit for David Finch, and now maybe he's looking at needing some help from Dwayne Davis. Some misfortune to fall on Dwayne Davis. And by the way, Finch, there's no question about his motivation. Last year, he could only qualify 7th. They made a change on the car. Then he got a little problem early on, dropped to dead last, and came back for his silver medal. So Finch, well, he doesn't like second. He wants first, but Davis perhaps wants it more. Welcome back to Mid-Ohio, where we are approaching the final 2 laps of the championship chase for GT2, the Grand Touring 2 category. You're right on board with the leader, Dwayne Davis.
Well, I tell you what, coming through that carousel there, he just held a beautiful tight line through that right-hand bit, which is not easy to do. It's the sort of corner that makes the car wash out. He was just hanging right in there. Beautiful line.
Well, and what Biz was talking about, here's a great example. Davis's last lap, a 133.5. Finch, a 134.1. And when John gave us that update, I'd been kind of looking at the scoring monitor a little bit, and Davis was running 132s when he needed to, when Finch was, and now he's been running 133s when Finch has run slower 133s. So Davis really has this one under control here, but not to say there's not some good racing going on. This is Mike Mirren, the white number 96, working up through some lap traffic. He's dropped off the back of Patton badly, but he's now developed a pretty handy lead over that battle for 7th between the 69 of Terry Gillis and the 83 of Chris Howard. We were watching a little earlier. Here's that scrap for 3rd, and Godfrey now, that's about as big a margin as Reed has had over Godfrey as they head down to the braking zone here.
Reed had that one scare when they had that lapping that slower traffic in the carousel, which he lost a lot of ground to Godfrey, but he seems to have asserted himself now pretty substantially, and I don't think that Godfrey's going to be able to mount a challenge either in the remaining couple of laps. Certainly doesn't look like it unless they run into more lap traffic. And of course, there's not a lot of traffic out in this race. We started with a fairly small field. We've lost some runners, including Jim Blakewell, which is sorry to see him go because he was really giving us a good run for his money. Boy,
Reed just dropped the left rear tire way off of the exit of 11. And if you've been with Speed since we started covering the runoffs some, 6 years ago, this has been an annual shot for us. That's Don Preston, who helps design the chassis as well as the engines that run in the Toyotas for TRD. And Don Preston pacing somewhere. He got tired of the cameras chasing him in pit lane and then back into the paddock. So now he goes in the garages, but we have spies.
We have eyes everywhere. This is Speed.
That's right. So Preston continues the nervous march, and he always does when one of his Toyotas is out front. He's not so nervous when it's inevitable. He's back in second and he's watching somebody charge. But when it's leading and it's pursuit, that's when he gets nervous here. Back to this battle. 69 Gillis still 7th with Chris Howard in 8th. And boy, both of them now leaving some big black streaks over the top of the S's here. And these tires may be going off and the car's loosening up.
Sun's come out. This is the first real sun we've had all week, certainly all weekend. Track temperature probably higher than it's been all weekend. Godfrey catching up with Reed here.
This is the final lap as well, so this is it. Your battle for the final medal. Looks like Davis and Finch have the first 2 sewn up. This is it right here. If you want a medal, Jim Godfrey, you got to figure out a move right now. And Davis has got to keep just fending off the pressure here. For the last time, Dwayne Davis into the carousel. Look at that, the nerves. 1 corner to go, about a 4.5-second lead. He's still nervous, onto the front straight, and Davis, unbelievable. Here comes Finch, but Davis gets a 7th gold medal in GT2 and a 12th career gold medal. That is control. Here we go, and it's Davis. He was able to withstand the pressure, even with the back of that car swinging around big time the last couple of laps, especially in turn 11. Davis had it up, and Godfrey comes alongside, gives him the thumbs up. Yeah, Reed, thank you. Gives him the thumbs up and says, awesome drive, even though it was loosened up. Here's Davis. Way out front. I got so wound up talking about all the medals he's won. It was incredible. And we've been watching this battle for a while. For 7th, Terry Gillis and Chris Howard. They're on their last lap right now. And Gillis has a significant lead. Howard is going to need a big moment.
Going to need a miracle.
A miracle from Gillis to be able to close it up just a little bit. And Gillis really, I mean, they've been a little loose in spots, but Gillis really hasn't put a wheel wrong at this point.
Oh, lap traffic, though. This could make life tricky. Yes, catching him at the bad spot.
Oh, the traffic, nice job, though. Moves well out of the way.
Well over the way. In fact, if it catches anybody else, it could catch Chris Howard out.
Well, Howard looks like he's backed off. I don't know whether something happened, but he's suddenly slowed way down.
Part of miracle.
Yeah, he's just, now I think Howard may have just realized it was not going to happen, and unless he needed help for it to happen, and Gillis is going to hang on for 7th. Howard will get 8th. Dick Salem in that yellow Porsche gets 9th, and Bud Matakakis will end up in 10th, but there is Dwayne Davis, who just continues an unbelievable streak, Brian Till, of success here at the Runoffs.
Well, Mark Nath is the crew chief for Dwayne Davis. He's talking to him on the radio right now, obviously very excited down here, giving him some instructions on how to get down there and get his checker flag. And we'll get a word with him here in just a second. They're having a little bit of a conversation. He's been around since 1990 as a data acquisition guy. But, Mark, I know that you guys are excited about what's happened here. You told me you worked long and hard to make sure you got victory circle.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've been trying to figure out what our unfair advantage is going to be for a whole year. I'm not sure we actually figured it out, but I think this is one of the few times since he's had that GT2 car he's led from start to finish.
Well, a lot of that, a lot of the credit goes to you guys. You were telling me about how hard you guys had worked on this car and how professionally it's prepared, basically, to make sure that he's there at the end.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Dwayne's a really meticulous guy. I mean, he's not just the driver. He's basically the brains behind the whole thing. And if he doesn't like what's done, it gets done over again. And he doesn't trust, essentially doesn't trust anybody. I mean, he looks over everything. And that's been the key to the success is that if he's confident, he just drives hard.
Well, congratulations on another victory. That makes 12 for him, 7 in this class, and I know that you guys will put another trophy on the wall of the shop. Congratulations.
Wow, what an absolutely remarkable performance. And he talked about the unfair advantage. Well, the crew has certainly won. Davis has certainly won. And interesting, though, I think one of the unfair advantages for this Toyota is a pacer. That's Don Preston. We'll come back to talk to Dwayne in just a minute. Valvoline Runoffs is brought to you by Valvoline. You can always tell the guys who use Valvoline. Let's get it right down to Brian Till.
Well, Dwayne Davis, that's an even dozen national championships for you and 7 in this class. What a performance you put on today. A driving clinic, actually.
Thanks. It was shaping up to be a real good race based on the qualifying times, and first part was that way, although even at the last, Dave kept the pressure on me.
Well, he certainly didn't want to look like he wanted to let you get away, so...
I think he was working. It'll be interesting to talk to him here in a little bit.
Well, now, your wife told me she flew all the way back from Africa to be here. I mean, you must have some kind of team camaraderie to make sure everybody wants to come back. Was it that dozen championships that you were after, or she just can't stay away from the racetrack?
Oh, probably a little bit of both. She wanted to see the dozen probably as much as I did. I like Kramer's idea from last year, though, Baker's dozen.
So, after 12 of these things, is this one just as sweet as the first?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they're all sweet. They're just, you know, you live all year for something like this, and I've been fortunate enough for it to happen to me many times.
So you never lose that taste for champagne?
No.
Well, and Greg, if anybody knows what champagne tastes like, it's this man right here. A dozen national championships, 7 in this class. That's awesome.
And he's not satisfied. That's the amazing thing, is that the motivation and drive for these guys is phenomenal. Let's take a look at the full field results here. There you see Davis, Finch, a great battle for third with Reed and Godfrey. Patton, not where he wanted to be, but he made it back up into the top 5. You take a look back through the rest of the pack. That's what it's all about, though. I mean, Dave, if you're a racer, 1, it's about wins, but 2, it's about championships, and this is an amateur's championship.
Well, it's a major championship for these guys. I'll tell you what, you got to hand it to Tom Patton in that in that car, so old, and look at it, the stuff he beat. I mean, he beat some really hot stuff. I mean, that says a lot for his car.
Of course, unfortunate for Jim Blakewell, who was certainly going to be a player for a medal, to have his problems early and drop out. And Gus Rosenberg, always pretty quick, too, not able to get there. Here is the podium here at Mid-Ohio. John Phippen, the track PA announcer, the lead announcer, having a chat right now with some of the major players. I think it was Dave Finch he was talking to. And there goes Dwayne Davis. And this, he said, you live all year for this, and this is part of it, that lap of honor. And you get one of your crew, or in some cases 3-4 of your crew, if you could pack them in there and take them out for that lap. Of course, David, sometimes as we watch Dwayne Davis going around the track, you tend to forget it's a team sport. And like they said, I mean, he had a lot of people behind him and has for a long time to make sure that he's got the tools to do this.
Well, obviously, in his case, it's a huge team sport. You heard his crew chief say it. Although he is obviously the team leader, his crew chief said, you know, he just doesn't trust anybody. Everything's got to be inspected by him. And, of course, he made sure the missus flew back from Africa to watch him win his 12th national championship.
Can't do it without support, and clearly he has got some that runs very, very deep. The loyalty for Dwayne Davis and the success that results from that very thing. Again, you saw in Victory Circle already, Dave Finch and Bill Reed were there. They are the silver and bronze medalists, respectively, and Dwayne Davis gets yet another gold medal. That wraps up our coverage of the championship, the national runoff for GT2. And there's Don Preston celebrating another success story for him as well. For David Hobbs and for Brian Till, for John Bizignano, I'm Greg Creamer. Thanks so much for joining us here at Mid-Ohio. We look forward to seeing you again here on Speed. And until then, take care, everybody.